St. Kitts and Nevis Times and also IMI newsletter came out with a real interesting article. I wanted to highlight a couple of things and give you my opinion on it. It was just talking about here in the article that St. Kitts is to refund sanctioned applicants as Prime Minister admits citizenship by investment revenues have collapsed. Okay, now they mentioned in the article that weeks after IMI became the first news outlet to call attention to St. Kitts and Nevis withholding of funds from applicants who were approved but not awarded citizenship, and the CIU confirms it has now initiated a refunding process for the affected applicants. Now, according to the St. Kitts and Nevis Times, Prime Minister Terence True confirmed that during the press conference yesterday that the CIU had begun the process of refunding applicants from sanctioned countries who had initially received approvals, but then were later told they would not after all obtained citizenship. Now, one local service provider representing several affected Russian clients today confirmed that the that the CIU had contacted him to begin the refunding process. Now, the sudden move, said the newspaper, came amid mounting pressure, including the threat of a class action lawsuit. Now, St. Kitts and Nevis Times also said that according to its unnamed sources within the CIU, the financial unit is grappling with significant challenges, particularly in meeting payments to service providers due to their drastic reduction in new applicants. Now, the sharp fall in applications is attributable to the country's decision earlier this year to raise the minimum investment and donation requirements, effectively making the program twice as expensive as its regional competitors. Well, you know, that's a no-brainer. When you raise the figure from 125,000 up to 250,000, you're not going to make double the amount of money, okay? The U.S. found that out in dealing with taxes. When you raise taxes in the U.S., what happens is people just they'll either move or find some way of getting around ridiculous high taxes. Now, what's happened here is St. Kitts is, the donation option has evidently come down to a squatting stop or close to it. And what I don't understand is why they didn't use this as a opportunity to make a lot of money, because to me, they could have just said, hey, we're going to double the rate in 3 months or 8 months and get the people who are sitting on the sideline. Because I can tell you this, if you're going to double the rate, anybody sitting on the sideline would jump in. They didn't do that. They just basically raised it up. Nobody knew they were going to raise it up. That was a huge lost opportunity by not trying to use that as a sales promotion. Didn't happen. My suggestion, if it's come to a screeching stop or slow down, just lower the price down. Now, as I mentioned before, I still don't think the donation is the best option to go on. And if CIU people are losing their jobs because of, which they mentioned here, and I'll read this out to you too, because the donation option went up, then they're not explaining the real estate option to people, because the real estate option now is cheaper than it was back in 2005, 2006. It's $10,000 cheaper, okay? It's $35,000 in 2005 and 6. Now it's $25,000 for one person on the government fee. It's cheaper, listen to me, it's cheaper than the donation option. It's $100,000 cheaper than the Antigua donation option. The St. Kitts, if you compare the St. Kitts for one person at $25,000 versus Antigua, which is $100,000, plus you got a $30,000 processing fee, that's right at over $100,000 difference on money that's not going to come back to you, okay? So I don't know why that's affecting CIU agents if they're not, you know, evidently they're not explaining the real estate program to clients, and the client doesn't even know about it. I mean, I've talked to clients that don't know it's only $25,000, okay? And they've talked to other CIU agents on it. But anyway, it talked about here the collapse in application volume, said the St. Kitts and Nevis Times CIU source had already led to the closure of at least 11 service providers, exasperating the unemployment economic hardship in the country. I just don't see why they would go out of business because they went up on the donation option, because, again, like I mentioned to you, St. Kitts still has more visa-free countries. It's got better tax laws than Antigua, and it's a lot cheaper as far as the government fee that you're paying out on the real estate option, okay? They're evidently not explaining this to clients correctly. Anyway, sources in both the CIU and the government itself admitted to the newspaper that if the trend persists, this is the part here that blows my mind. The once thriving program may face closure, plunging the nation into a severe financial crisis. Come on. Evidently, they need to put somebody in there that's an entrepreneur. St. Kitts has got the best program out there. Look, if it's come to a screeching halt on the donation option, just lower it back down again. It's not a big deal, okay? And start promoting the real estate option, which is the best option to begin with. I don't understand this, but this is ridiculous. But during the press conference, Prime Minister Drew acknowledged that his administration has had to tap into reserve funds to maintain funding for social programs. And they talked about here that last week, former Prime Minister Timothy Harris lambasted the current administration for its failure to publish statistics on the program's performance. And then they went on to say here that while the criticism is valid, they said that Harris's credibility at this point is questionable, considering he himself published no program statistics at all while in office. Well, memories are pretty short, because Harris did publish an article, okay, and he did it right out. And I'm not a political guy. I'm not for either party. I don't even vote in St. Kitts. And I like both parties because both parties don't have an income tax. Neither party wants to come out with an income tax, unlike the U.S. that the Democrats and Republicans both want an income tax. It's not that much difference. They both still want high taxes. St. Kitts doesn't want any income tax from either party. And I like that. That's the way I ought to keep it. Okay, so I'm not a political guy, but this is the key right here. That statement's not true, okay? Because when he came in office, that was one of the first things I remember he did. He went back retroactive from I guess they went back to 1984. That's when the program started, all the way up to when he came in 2015 or thereabouts. I think it was around 2015 when he came in. The article came out. I actually looked for today because I had it on my hard drive for a long time. And I can tell you what the figures were. It was kind of blew my mind when I saw the figures. From retroactive from day one all the way up to 2015, and I say from day one, I'm assuming he went back to 1984. They had done around it was over 10,000 citizenships total. And I assume those were 10,000 families and not 10,000 people, because some families had 4 people that got citizenship. But the thing that really threw my mind out was that the years 2005, 6, and 7, they only had, I think it was 2005, only had like 19 citizenships that whole year. And the next year, there was like 17. Excuse me, there were 75 the next year. And the reason I'm saying this is one point I wanted to bring out was that they actually had a chart, and the chart was showing how much it was going up. And it went through the roof in 2012. And I'm going to tell you why they did this. This was a change the government did. They made a good move and they made a real ridiculous move. The good move was in 2012, they changed the Citizenship Act, okay? And it was the first year that the number of citizenships went up over 2,000, and it actually progressed up from there, okay? I forgot the peak before it actually started dropping somewhat, but 2012 was the big jump up, and I'll tell you why. The government came out with the new law that stated that people who bought a property for citizenship, okay, start January the 1st, 2012, could then, listen to me, this is the government needs to listen to this, because this is what really boosted the government, the number of citizenships before, is they allowed people automatically, they didn't have to get the house reapproved for citizenship. They allowed them automatically, if they bought for citizenship, they could sell it to someone else for citizenship. They didn't have to get the government involved. It was automatic as long as it was bought in the citizenship zones, okay? They didn't have the home program back then when this occurred, okay? That was the extra requirement to get a home qualified, okay? Now, this is the mistake they made, though. They basically discriminated against people that bought citizenship before January the 1st, 2012. because those people who bought their property for citizenship before January the 1st, 2012, could not resell it to someone else that wanted to get citizenship if they bought before that date. And I thought, why did the government come out with that? To me, that's like spit in the client's face. These were early people that got in before January the 1st, 2012. They put St. Kitts on the map, okay? The government comes in with this great rule. I thought the law was very good that they now allow people, everybody buying properties for citizenship, could resell them for citizenship again. But then they left these people out of the law, stating that they could not sell their properties for citizenship, which means that probably a lot of these people took losses on their property. Because I'm going to tell you something, as I mentioned in other videos, if you buy in St. Kitts, whether you're buying for citizenship or not, you should be buying properties that qualify for citizenship. It is a lot easier to sell your property, okay? Because that's the wealth that's coming into St. Kitts, is people wanting to get citizenship. The big mistake that St. Kitts made was they left that out for the people that bought before January 1st, 2012, that bought their house for citizenship. And to me, that was a real stab in the back, why they did that. I don't understand that. But I'll tell you, it definitely worked for the new people that were buying for citizenship, because now it was automatic that you didn't have to get government approval. You had to sell your property for a certain amount, okay, to qualify for citizenship. And you didn't have to get this thing that's backing up everything right now. Now they've got these laws where everybody's got to get their property approved for citizenship. We just got a letter on a property that was for the home program trying to get qualified for citizenship. That application was put in back in March, 8 months ago. We just got the letter of approval. All that stamp duty money that was lost from these houses because maybe they had a buyer, they couldn't sell it. They had to get that approval. It took 8 months to do that. That should be taken totally out of the picture. They need to change that. If you really want to move the properties and get the stamp duty that's going to make the country grow, take these negatives out. This is constipating the whole system. Get the government out of having to reapprove these homes. Make it where you've got $400,000 for the condo minimum requirement. For the house, it's $800,000. You can do that. But I think that this thing about getting the government involved with every single house that has to be resold for citizenship again, or not even allowing them to sell their house for citizenship. In other words, putting a stop on it. One person gets it, but the next one doesn't. Why wouldn't the next guy want to buy the house if he can't sell it for citizenship? Now it's hurt the guy that's trying to sell his house because the next guy can't sell it for citizenship. You need to have it automatic. If you don't do that, and the government should get out of having to reapprove every single house for citizenship, I think it's a huge mistake. It's constipating the whole system up. Anyway, and back on this thing about Harris, he was transparent. When he came in, that article, he published it, but the problem was, as he was in office, then they stopped doing it. Why the transparency stopped, I don't know. It was real good when he first came in, but then I tried to get the figures from Les Kahn when he was in office. They wouldn't give the figures out. It's all private again. I think both governments should make that where it's available for where the public can see about how much money approximately the government's getting from citizenship. It makes sense to me. Anyway, if you want to know more on how to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport as quick as 4 to 8 months, do 3 things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here, and you get new videos automatically as they come out. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below. And folks, if you want to know more on this, you can go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. And I look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.